Welcome to Gayatri Yoga, my friends. If we haven't met before, my name is Christina and I'm really excited to share my next piece of story with you. In the last video, I've shared with you where I'm coming from and how I became a yoga teacher. And in this video, I would like to tell you more about how I got interested in nutrition, how I began researching all the information about food, the benefits and all types of diets, and my journey with raw vegan food and veganism and how I eat right now. So going back to the time when I was a kid and a teenager, I was always skinny. I was active and didn't have any issues with extra weight. Didn't care much about what I eat, although our diet back in Eastern Europe is completely different from what people are used to eating here. So in general, the diet there is a little bit more on the healthy side. And then when I moved to the capital to study at the university, this is when I started to have issues with extra weight. I can say that my diet really changed. Maybe I was less active than before. Right now, I believe that it's all because my body grew up. It didn't have to have that much energy, that many calories as I used to consume before. And this is why all the extra calories were packing up on me. And besides, I was eating a little more than I used to eat simple carbs. During the second year of our university studies, my roommate persuaded me to try this Kremlin diet. It's basically a low-carb diet and it looks like more than keto. You have to count how many grams of carbs you eat, and basically you don't eat enough, you are low in energy, your digestive systems really breaks up, you have constipation, yes, you lose weight, but you are cutting off a very important source of the calories and nutrients. When I went for the first time to the USA for the summer, the diet changed and I gained all that weight back, maybe even more. You can see it in the pictures. Basically, that weight stayed with me for my next year at the university, maybe on and off. During the exams, I lost some weight, but then I got the weight back on. And then for the next summer, when I went to the USA again, I signed up to a gym and I got really hooked. I was staying there all my free time between the jobs, and I really enjoyed taking classes and doing machines and running. It was a really big gym, so at that gym I wasn't really scared or intimidated to do the machines, because at the time when I went there, there was nobody at the gym. And also there was a pool and I really liked swimming. It was back in Virginia. So when I decided to stay in the USA for a longer period of time, I moved to Miami, and the weather was even more different than in Virginia. Always hot, always humid. I was feeling really bad and I felt really heavy. My digestion was really bad. My face was breaking up a lot. Again, I wasn't used to drinking enough water because in Belarus it's not so hot, so you don't feel that much thirsty. I began having issues with constipation, but I didn't pay attention to that. I just felt that my stomach is hurting, but I wasn't doing any research or trying to find out what's going on. When I was working at a hair salon, one day my boss asked me about my breakouts, and I told him, I don't know what's happening, maybe hormones. And he's asked me about how I go to the restroom if my digestion is good. And it stuck with me. Yes, I'm constipated, and all the toxins were trying to be released through the skin, and this is why I had the breakouts. And I began reading. I just started pulling up some search results in Google about digestion, what is causing constipation. I didn't know anything about that, but I just started doing my research, and article after article I began to draw a bigger picture in my mind. I believe in the law of attraction, so when you start when you put a thought in your mind, you begin searching for something, the answers will come in different forms. And sometimes we just don't notice and reject the answers, or we don't like the form in the way the answers are given to us. So we just push them away and then wait for another opportunity. So just one day my friend came with an encyclopedia about health and wellness. It's not this book, but it was a similar book, and it was in Russian. And from the first pages, it just wrote about modern diet and how much meat we consume, how much fast food and simple carbohydrates we eat, that this is the reason why so many people are overweight and have digestive problems, heart problems, blood pressure problems, and so many people are sick. From the first pages, it gave lots of information about meat, about how it toxifies the body, how when the toxins are building up, the body cannot remove them, how they're building up on the walls of your digestive tract, and then even if you eat your veggies and fruits, they don't get absorbed properly. So all of this began making a clearer picture to me. And everything I didn't understand, I would just type in Google, what is this and what is that. I just found more and more books, and it said something about naturopath doctors, and I didn't even know what this word means. And I was just typing in, what is a naturopathic doctor? And it gave me the answer, and I tried to research more information about certain doctors, found some books, and more information came to me about how raw food is more nutritious, and how cooking, I knew that vitamins are destroyed during cooking, but I didn't know much about enzymes and all this stuff. So I was really excited about this topic, and it was easy to me to transition from regular meat eater. I was eating lots of meat, and I remember even saying that I can't live without meat before that, but then I easily transmitted to eating no meat. And then my husband at the time, he was my boyfriend, he I didn't push him and didn't try to make him get rid of the meat. I just told him about all the drawbacks of eating meat and all the benefits of eating a raw and more nutritious diet, and we switched. We didn't become raw vegans right away, so we first removed meat, and then we removed fish, and during our journey we tried eating raw, and it was a little bit more of like a roller coaster. I'm talking about my own experience. I know there are people who eaten raw for many years, but I also see many people who tried raw veganism for the same reasons as I did go away from it. They are switching back off to vegan or even a pescetarian diet. So when you are reading all of this new information, it's really hard to filter out. Basically everything we have on this subject is some forums and bloggers. And what bloggers do, they just copy each other and change their article and post as if it's a true and only truth that ever exists. And I began treating the subject a little bit more carefully, because I noticed some things in my body that didn't really excite me. I was really skinny. Even if I worked out, it was hard to put on weight, and I still had my breakouts, maybe even more. And I'm really sensitive to sugar, and lots of the food that I was consuming was fruits, because when you switch to eating raw, you have like salads, lettuce, some green stuff, nuts, seeds, and mostly fruits. So you are switching to mostly high carb diet. It's high sugar, the glucose that is getting into the blood really quickly. You are spiking on the energy, and this is why many people who switch to raw veganism, they say, oh, this is so good, I have so much energy, I used to be really sleepy after eating meat. But this is the reason why they get the energy, because they eat mostly sugar. Yes, it may like sound and feel exciting at the beginning, but then when you eat this type of diet for a very long time, if you observe most of the raw vegans, you will notice they are losing muscle mass. If they don't consume any types of powders or extra stuff from the bottle, you're losing the muscle mass, you're getting skinny, you are getting dark circles. And what I noticed, first of all, my teeth, the enamel got damaged, I guess, from the acids. And when I got a scratch or a cut on my skin, it would take forever to heal, as if I didn't have enough amino acids to build my own cells. And it makes sense if you consider that I probably didn't eat enough protein. I decided to slowly move away from raw vegan food, like 100% raw vegan food, to adding up some soups and some healthily cooked stuff, like no fried, deep fried, and maybe no oil. I made soups with no salt, and it really worked out for me and my boyfriend. At that time, I was also interested in a food combining theory, which made maybe even more sense to me than eating 100% raw. And if you want, I will tell you this more about this in another video, because it's going to make a really long one, about how you should not combine protein-rich foods with carbohydrate-rich foods, because those are digested in different parts of our digestive system, and when we eat a lot of both at the same time, it messes up again our digestion and causes bloating and all the other side effects. So looking at all the raw vegan recipes that were offered and even offered now, and knowing the food combining theory and how the proteins and carbs are digested in my body, the recipes didn't make sense to me. Technically, you're not supposed to eat fruits and nuts, because they are not digested really well. They don't make good friends. Same with eating meat and rice, or fish and rice, or pasta or potatoes. And when I tried making some raw vegan cakes, raw vegan treats, where you combine nuts with dry fruits and maybe leftovers of fresh fruits after squeezing the juice, or the vegetable pulp, it feels really heavy in your stomach, and it didn't work out for me well. I tried raw soups, and honestly, it didn't really taste delicious to me, and my boyfriend didn't like them too. I don't know, it doesn't taste well. Maybe like some types of snacks you can put together that work well according to the food combining theory, and can taste good, but in general the variety felt kind of limiting to me. So I moved to eating mostly raw with some cooked food, and we felt much better on that kind of diet. For almost a year, like for a year, I was vegan. I wasn't eating any fish, any seafood, any meat, any poultry, and any dairy. Another thing that happened to my body, I didn't have, I didn't have menstrual cycle for almost a year. And because I had lots of stress like happening at that time, it was normal to me that my cycle was extended, but basically there was no menstruation during almost a whole year, like 9-month period. And when you read stuff on forums and you don't know your physiology and your anatomy, you would believe what the people say there. They would say, oh, women are not supposed to have periods. You're not supposed to bleed. If you eat healthy and your body is healthy, you shouldn't be bleeding. And this is not true, because when I was when I got hold of anatomy from my friend who went to nursing school, I read everything about the cycle, not from a blogger, but from a real anatomy book. And I mean, physiologically, you are supposed to bleed. Yes, you may, maybe you shouldn't be bleeding like crazy, or it shouldn't last for a long period of time, but I mean, there's like it's part of your nature. So when I went to Belarus to visit my family, finally after 3 years of being in the USA, I had issues with finding raw food, because I went in the fall, and maybe right now there is more options, but at that time you have lots of fresh organic stuff during the summer, but during winter there is not much. Just fruits, not so many veggies, no broccoli or cauliflower or eggplant. So I decided to add some soured dairy products like kefir and yogurt and farmer's cheese. And believe it or not, in a couple of days I got my period, and it was meaningful to me. It showed me that I was missing something in my body, and my natural cycle wasn't happening. And I'm not the type of person that would choose to not eat certain foods for whatever reasons and take stuff from the bottles. I tried many times like protein powders and buying vitamins, and I just can't make myself to consume that. First of all, it doesn't taste good, it's extremely sweet or has weird taste, and or like those large vitamin pills you can't even swallow. You feel like throwing up, so it's not an option for me. It felt like my joints are not feeling the same, and if I work out, I see my muscles are getting sore, but nothing is happening in terms of growth or definition. So like after New Year's, I just decided that I want to add and try adding fish. So currently I eat everything besides meat and poultry. I eat some dairy products like kefir, sometimes cheese, but I eat fish, and I think it's called pescetarian diet. Lots of veggies and fruits. I avoid, I don't eat fast food or sodas. I don't do deep fried food. I feel bad for the fish, I feel bad for the shrimp, I feel bad for the cows that we take the milk from. Sometimes I'm like on the edge of removing that from my diet. Sometimes I feel like that I need it. As a mom, I had a really hard time deciding how to feed my children. So, to be honest, I don't know a single person who grew up from day one not consuming or eating any animal products. So, it makes it really hard for me to take all these options away from my children. I mean, I grew up and my body, my bones, my muscles basically were built up using this type of protein and fats and nutrients. And I don't know 100% if I take this away, take this option away from my children, if their bodies will be healthy, 100% healthy, if they will not have any issues at 30 or 40 or 50. In considering the changes that I've seen in my body in a short period of time when I was following this diet, I guess I'm not ready to take this responsibility 100%. So I'm not pushing like meat on my kids. I'm not buying and cooking it, but if the grandma makes something for them or a soup with some meat, I just let it go. And if the child wants it and likes it, I let him do it. I let him try it and eat it and enjoy it. The same in their preschool. So to sum it all up, I'm still trying to balance it all out. Some days I don't eat like all super healthy and nutritious food. If I cook pasta for kids, I will eat some pasta, although before I would never eat pasta. It was like a no, I wouldn't eat that before. But now the life changed a little bit. Maybe it's for a short period of time, and I'm not killing myself about it. I know, like I have a vision for what's the ideal picture, and I know how to attain that. But right now we are all adjusting towards one another in terms of our habits. My kids don't really like eating food per se. My oldest son was a really bad eater of like solid foods. He nursed for a long time, and like at a year and a half, he would mostly nurse and not eat, and he developed, he was anemic for a long period of time, and even now he's at the lower range of his iron and hemoglobin levels, ferritin levels. So I would really like to hear from you what you think about this topic, diet in general. What type of eating habits do you have? What type of foods do you normally consume? Do you follow a strict diet, or you're following some intuitive diet? Please let me know in the comments below. Maybe you are someone who has been vegan for since day one of your life, or maybe you have children that you raised from day one to being vegan up to 20 or 30 years, and they are 100% healthy, or maybe not healthy and have issues. Anything else that you want to share about, please share in the comments below. Personally, I came to a conclusion that it's not really healthy for your mindset, your relationship with the society, to be dogmatic about how you eat. I read and hear very like nasty sometimes or sad things from vegan people who are pro non-harming, harming other people by their words. So it doesn't really make sense to me. I think everyone has a choice. The only thing you can do is just share information with others and maybe help them understand, rather than trying to poke them and hurt them and make them feel like not belonging. People start to move even more away from you, and you're not doing any good for saving the animals if you're pro that. Again, I will post a link in the description and in the comment under the video to a form where you can ask me any questions, make suggestions, and I'm reading all of your form submissions, and I'm getting a picture what all of you are looking to hear from me or to share. Most of you are intermediate to advanced practitioners. I'm really excited to create more intermediate and advanced flows as I progress in my own practice. I will share my knowledge with you. So thank you again for listening to my bragging about my diet, about my journey. I would be really happy to read all of your comments. Share with your friends, subscribe if you're not subscribed yet. Until we practice again, namaste.